Alright, guys, back again. Let's talk about Scoob, which is the newest theatrical Warner Brothers Scooby Doo movie. And I think it's been since 2004 with Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed that we haven't had a theatrical Scooby Doo movie. But I know for a fact that we have had so many Scooby Doo movies go direct to video, like Scooby Doo with John Cena or Scooby Doo with Kiss or Batman. It's pretty interesting to see that they bring back this theatrically. Watching the trailers for this, I was excited because I do like. I'm very nostalgic for the two Scooby Doo movies, the live action ones. I grew up with those. I really think that they're fun, and I don't know if I'd feel different if I didn't grow up with them. But as I grew up with the original two theatrical live action movies, it's weird to watch this one because this one is a fully animated movie with good animation. I think the animation in this is solid, but for me, watching this movie as an adult might not be the best way to see this for me. If I saw this when I was a kid, I might have liked this a lot more. But I'm going to outright say this, and I'm really sad to say this. I think that this movie was pretty bad. I didn't really like this movie at all. I thought that this was a very, very corporate product. It just, it's a product that Warner Brothers put out, and Warner Brothers has tried to make universes, superhero universes, like with DC, and they went down the route of making their own solo movies as opposed to building up to something because Justice League didn't do that good, theatrically or critically. I thought that they would have learned their lesson, but we now have Scoob, a movie that I did not expect to be a starting point for this Hanna-Barbera universe. It suffered from having this be a movie about building a universe. I feel like most every studio that's tried it has gone through. Warner Brothers is using their own IP, but they're using it really not very interestingly. Like, I really didn't like this movie. I'm sad to say it because I grew up with Scooby-Doo. I grew up with the cartoons. I grew up with the live action movies, two of them. And I thought that I had fun watching Scooby-Doo as a kid. And it's so sad for me being an adult watching this movie and seeing the cynical side of it, because this movie, the trailers were about, let's see the origin of Scooby-Doo, which we did in A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, the show. But in this, the trailers were like, let's see how they met, Shaggy and Scooby and Fred and Velma and Daphne. And then that's only 5 minutes of the movie, and then they're adults the rest of the movie. So the trailer was pretty misleading. The trailer really is a very different than the movie. Like, every line, every scene in the trailers are not the same as at all like the movie. Like, every thing in the trailer is literally feels like it's made up for the trailer. None of these scenes are the same. They're similar in some aspects with the lines, but they're not the same scenes from the trailer, which is very weird. It's weird too because this movie had kind of a weird history to it, because Dax Shepard was going to direct this movie, and then for a while he was taken out of it, and then we got Tony Carvone, who by his filmography on Wikipedia directed a lot of Tom and Jerry movies. There's a lot of spin-off Tom and Jerry movies direct to video that he directed. So that's funny that you say direct to video, because honestly this movie feels direct to video. The animation I think is good, and I think it's the only thing in the movie that makes this not warranted for theatrical, but it feels like it's trying to be theatrical with the animation. The animation is good. Like, it's a budget of animation that is set for a theater, or as we had at home because of what's going on. Seeing this animation in the theater would have been cool. These characters are so photorealistic, but they're also cartoony, like in a way where you don't see in other animated movies that are pretty popular, like Disney. I did like the animation in this. I thought the animation was good. I did like that they harkened back to the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You credits in the movie. They had this scene where you see verbatim in CG the opening of Scooby-Doo Where Are You, the show. And it's just new animation, which I thought was cool. And that's it. There's nothing. The animation is fine. It was a cool moment to show the original opening of Scooby-Doo Where Are You just in CG, but besides that, there's nothing in this movie that I enjoyed really. I thought that all the voice acting in it felt very miscast. Like it's weird to say. Like I don't hear any of these voice actors sounding like they like any other iteration I've heard of any of these characters besides Scooby, because Frank Welker of course is Scooby like usual. But they even made the fact that they got rid of like Matthew Lillard and it as Shaggy, who is really disappointed, and it really sucks because he was a really, I thought, a good Shaggy. I thought he was awesome, and I know he voiced him too. I thought that was cool. It's just unfortunate that all these actors just are thrown away to make this corporate product. They didn't really care about anybody else. They just wanted to make this movie to make this Hanna-Barbera universe. Speaking of that, this is not a Scooby-Doo movie in total. This is a Scooby-Doo plus Blue Falcon plus Dino Mutt movie. It's weird because Fred, Velma, and Daphne are barely in it. They're in the movie but in the background, and it's more about Scooby and Shaggy. And it's so weird seeing just them, Blue Falcon and Dino Mutt, joining them on this journey while Fred, Velma, and Daphne just are on the sidelines. And I know that the Scooby-Doo live-action movie, the first one, did that where they broke up, but that was only like a couple minutes of the movie, and then they're back again, like, as team. So I thought that was done better in that movie. So I've got to point out something in this movie that I thought was really strange. I really don't know why this movie has such a fixation on Simon Cowell. Did they have him give him a lot of money? Like, was he sponsored in this? Like, what's the point of Simon Cowell? The movie starts after it shows them as kids, and then they're adults. Because again, the movie the marketing kind of deceived us, where it's like it's not really about them being kids, it's about them as adults with just 5 minutes of them being kids. And then they bring in Simon Cowell to work with their team, and then he excludes Scooby and Shaggy away from the team. And it's so weird because Simon Cowell makes a lot of appearances in this movie, and it's like, it's such a pandering, weird thing. It's like, why do you have this guy? Like, what's the point besides he's Simon Cowell? There's no literal point to bring him in. It's so strange. I don't get it. I really don't. It's so weird. And also you have Captain Caveman and Muttley included as well. You've got all these Hanna-Barbera characters that, for me, I honestly forgot about. I honestly forgot about all these characters because I haven't watched any of these since I was a kid. So watching this as an adult and randomly put in these Hanna-Barbera characters on the side, it really feels like it reeks of studio notes. It's like, we got to put all these Hanna-Barbera characters because we're going to make a universe. We still don't understand. Warner Brothers still does not understand that to make a universe, a superhero universe, you've got to put care and love into it. And like, instead of just making a movie that you can tell is a corporate product. And of course that's subjective. And I really think that this one, for me, in my opinion, just feels like it's very, very much corporate product with a lot of just studio notes of, we need these characters in this for their movies that will eventually come down the road if this movie makes enough. And this movie has made a lot of money, apparently. Not in the theater, because again, we don't have theaters open right now, but it has a lot of money going for VOD, which is kind of scary because I want to have theaters back when this ends. I hope that we do. I don't know about this movie. It's so sad that I got this movie that I wanted to have fun with. And I know I'm an adult, but watching this as an adult, it's sad. It's a sad movie. There's nothing that I really enjoyed about it. And if you like this movie, that's awesome. But for me, I just didn't find really anything to enjoy. I thought this movie was extremely lame. Like, it didn't feel like Scooby-Doo. It felt like it was hearkening too much into these Hanna-Barbera characters just to create a universe. And it was just so uninteresting and just so by-the-numbers corporate product. There's nothing special about it. It feels very direct-to-video, but with theatrical budget animation. That's it. Like, it's not anything special. It's a very nothing of a movie, and it's just, again, so unfortunate with the marketing that kind of deceived us, with adding in all these characters to establish a universe, to not make a really important story that involves the characters of Scooby-Doo, because again, Velma, and Daphne are in the sidelines, and it's really one of those movies that just reeks of being a movie that you can tell is trying to make money to make more money, but without any soul into it. Like, it just doesn't have any authenticity, and that really is a shame for me. And I really am sad because I do enjoy Scooby-Doo. Whenever I was a kid, I enjoyed it a lot. Still enjoy those two movies, the live action ones. I watched the first one like a couple months ago, and I remember enjoying it still. It's just, this is just a sad movie, unfortunately. That's how I feel. I feel pretty sad. It's just one of those movies that's not for me. Hey guys, if you like this video, consider checking out my other content. I review a majority of films that are pretty recent, and also older films, and mostly horror as well. Horror is my favorite genre, so I expect a lot of horror. And check out all my links down below. I have a link to Patreon, I have a link to Instagram, link to Twitter, link to my Facebook group, Horror Enthusiast 101, and to my own personal Facebook page, CDR Movie Reviews. And thank you for anybody who watched this video. Thanks for watching.